Would you rather prime Chris Paul edition? First matchup that we have is Luka Doncic.
Ooh, prime Chris Paul. Luka. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Chris Paul. I love the way Chris Paul played in his prime. I think when he was just throwing up lobs to Blake and DeAndre Jordan and everything like that. People don't realize how talented he was in terms of playmaking for that team and also just creating all these chances for his other teammates. But I think Chris Paul had, if he was put on the right team on the right time, I think it would have been a game changer. But I think Chris Paul and with Luka's definitely progressing, and I think Luka will definitely surpass Chris Paul at some point. But prime Chris Paul right now compared to Luka, I would go with Chris Paul.
Okay. Next matchup that we have, prime Chris Paul or prime Russell Westbrook.
I think we go back to the other one. I'm going to go with prime Russell Westbrook. I think Westbrook was a monster at OKC. I would say Russell Westbrook was my favorite player in his prime. He was just such an energetic and fun player to watch, and I wouldn't put a lot of players over Westbrook during his prime just because of the way he played. I think the only thing he didn't add to it was probably a ring. But other than that, he brought a type of energy to the teams that I don't think is matched with Chris Paul.
Yeah. All right. And last one that we have, prime Chris Paul or prime Steve Nash.
I like Steve Nash. I'm gonna go with prime Steve Nash. Steve Nash was an MVP. I love the way Steve Nash plays in terms of he's kind of similar to Chris Paul in terms of playmaking and then also his scoring ability. I think their games are actually very similar to each other. But I think Steve Nash is probably a slight level ahead of what Chris Paul was in his prime.
Okay. There you have it, folks. Prime Steve Nash over prime Chris Paul. Matthew had prime Russell Westbrook over prime Chris Paul again. And then, of course, prime Chris Paul over prime Luka at the moment. We don't know how Luka's ceiling yet. I think he still has
a lot to go.